about skateboarding, but you're just not very good at jumping up and down on your favorite piece of wood. Crab skateboarding, crab skateboarding podcast.
Ham sandwich! Salami! Oh, boy!
Hello and welcome to the Crap Skateboarding Podcast, a weekly dive into skateboarding for the average skater, hosted by myself, James.
And me, Jack.
In this podcast, two distinctly average skaters will try to cover pretty much everything you might want to know about skating, from total beginners to midlife crisis shredders.
Each week, we will be discussing a range of exciting topics regarding skateboarding in these uncertain times.
And this week, Jack, our topic is...
Drum roll, please!
Skate Mum!
So, we are talking this week to a skateboarder, a new skateboarder, or a newish skateboarder, definitely.
Yeah.
Since the started skateboarding in the lockdown, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, just before. I think I got my first board start of 2020. But yeah, really sort of got going in the lockdown.
Oh, brilliant. This is Jane, everyone, by the way. I'm so sorry.
I was going to say, Jack, where's the introduction? You're getting ruder the more popular. You're getting more professional and more rude.
I'm awful. I'm sorry, Jane. Sorry, Jane, tell us about your, tell us all about your introduction to skateboarding and your journey so far.
So I literally never ever considered skateboarding as a hobby previously. It's not something that had really been on my radar at all. It's not like an unfulfilled childhood passion. Just hadn't even considered it. But then I've got two sons, and they got into their scooter. So they were the scooter kids, sadly. So
no
we
comment.
started going to a lot of skate parks, and a lot of sitting around skate parks, and they're very cold. And I was just watching everyone else, and I thought, that I didn't think, I really want to do scootering, but I thought, skateboarding really looks good fun.
Yeah.
I quite fancy having a go at it, and then I don't have to just sit around, and I could do something. So yeah, I got a skateboard, and obviously it was a lot harder than it looked.
It absolutely is. That doesn't stop being true, by the way.
No. And I thought, it'll be really good fun, and I could barely stand on it. But there was something about it, and I just kept wanting to go back and do more and carry on and learn more. And I got really into it.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
First
wonderful,
off, say,
Jamie.
I'm glad you didn't get tempted to the dark side, and that you did come to the light.
No, I can't imagine. No, in fact, actually now, my son, who was most keen on scooting, is now the keenest skateboarder.
Oh, wicked.
Hey, that's brilliant.
We'll get them back. We'll get them all back. They'll come around eventually.
You don't really see adults doing it, do you? That's true. I know as someone who, again, as people who spend so much time playing on a toy, basically, we shouldn't throw stones. But you don't really see adults on them.
I don't know, though. Will we, though, when all the scooter kids from now are in their 30s? Will they be the ones in the skate parks on their scooters, going, I've got a scooter again. Gonna do that. Buttercup or whatever.
Yeah.
That sounds like a horrible dystopian nightmare from a science fiction film.
So Jane, just tell me, so you said you went and got a skateboard. How did you go about getting your first board? How did you choose it? Did you get any help, or did you just go to the skate shop and went?
No, I literally went on Skate Hut and just picked something that looked like it was suitable for an adult, but really cheap,
Awesome.
because I just didn't know if I'd like it or not. So that lasted, I don't know, maybe a couple of months of me trying to do ollies. It sort of, it started to delaminate or whatever. So yeah, then trying to choose the next board was really hard, because then I knew that I really liked skateboarding and I wanted a better board, like a proper board. I was absolutely clueless as to, and it was in lockdown, so I couldn't just like go into the skate shop and ask for advice. So I asked Instagram.
Good place for
The internet's good.
Yeah,
The internet's good for this.
And quite a few people gave me ideas. It was a bit weird, because I was sort of not a beginner, but I still didn't have really any feel for any of the brands or what I wanted.
So you kind of came into it organically, didn't you? Kind of on the opposite of what a lot of people do. A lot of people come into it because they think it looks cool. So they go out and buy all the branded gear and they know all about the brands and the image before sort of actually skating. Whereas you've gone, that looks fun, I'll get anything. And then and you come into like, you can have the right way around, like organically come into skating and then trying to figure out what you're doing after that. I think that's brilliant. So what are you riding? What gear have you got?
So at the moment, I'm still riding the second board. Well, the street board is the second board that I've got, which is an Enjoy one. They did a complete that was like sort of, I think it was designed more for the beginner skater. So it's an 8.5, because my first one was an 8, but I decided I wanted to go slightly wider. And that's been good. I think it's still got, it'll probably take me mostly through the summer. I think it's looking a bit worn now, but not too bad. And then I've got 2 freestyle boards as well.
Have you?
Wow.
So I'm much more geeky about my freestyle boards than I could like name you the bearings and the trucks and the.
Please do. I'm curious. I want to know
I'm
what you're
curious because again, my experience with freestyle is limited, but I suppose when I see people doing freestyle, it's normally just on a kind of modern popsicle deck. So are they like proper old school?
So the first one I got, there's a shop that does mainly freestyle stuff called Offset Skate Supply. And the guy who runs it, Tony Gale, is a really good freestyler, and he's just great for giving advice basically and helping you get set up. So the first board I got is a moonshine one. I think it's 7.3. It's really tiny, and completely flat, no concave.
Wow.
And so I've got that with Paris trucks, moonshine wheels, and that's been brilliant. That's the one I'm still using. But then I did fancy trying something that was a bit more intermediate between the street board and the freestyle board. So I've got a mode board as well, which has got a bit more concave on it, a slightly bigger board, slightly lower trucks, because the Paris trucks are really high. So I've got film trucks on that one, but I sort of I haven't actually skated it much, because I'm sort of, I don't want to have to. It's the learning curve of getting used to a new board, and I can't be bothered to go through it at the moment.
It feels a bit weird under your feet whenever you get a new deck, doesn't it? You have to kind of break it in a little bit. Am I right in thinking the freestyle boards, they're slightly more angular at the tip? They've got like a flat nose and tail, haven't they? So they're less curved.
Yes.
They're less popsicle, and they're a bit more squared off, so you can do like truck stands and things a little bit easier.
Some of them are, some of them are very square at the ends. And then the other thing about it is that it's perfectly symmetrical. So I don't really have a nose and a tail on this one. So I can just go off whatever end of the board ends up. And that's been quite good for me, because I've been having some problems with one of my knees. So some of the things that I do, I actually end up doing in Switch because it's easier. And then I don't have to worry about, am I on the nose? Am I on the tail?
That's amazing,
you know, the
that you can
same.
do that.
Never heard anyone say Switch is easier before. That's,
Honestly,
Some of the freestyle, I don't do a lot of sort of Switch stuff on the street board, but on the freestyle board, some of the tricks I've just deliberately learned that way round because I can't jump off that leg, so I have to jump off the other leg.
You're ambidextrous at skating. That's
amazing.
That's great.
I can't even stand on the bloody thing Switch. I just don't understand it. I don't get it at all. That's amazing. So you mentioned your children earlier, Jane, and you said how old did you say they were again?
So the eldest is 12 and the youngest is 10.
How do they feel about you skateboarding? See, I'm at the other end of this parenting journey, so I'm a dad, but my daughter is 21 months old. So she's still at this time where she'll stand on the board with me and get really excited. Yeah. But there's no, she's not at an age where she can judge me or like, either way, actually, I don't have that experience. I mean, how do your children feel about you skateboarding, and how do they, I suppose, what role do they play in your hobby as well?
So my eldest, he's his second year at senior school now, and he's really a lot more about hanging out with his friends and doing his own thing. So I think as long as I don't skate anywhere where his friends could see me skating.
Like anyone else that age, I guess.
He and a friend will go out to the local car park and like try and practice ollies and shove-its and things. Yeah. And but actually, I was feeling proud last weekend because my shove-it advice helped them to improve.
So cool.
You're now the teacher. There you go.
My mum never helped me when I was struggling to shove it for the first time. She didn't know. Absolutely useless she was. That's incredible. I saw I hope you don't mind me saying, on your Instagram, was it today though? One of your children was you were helping you learn how to pump around in a bowl.
Yeah, so my younger son is fine about hanging out with mum, and we, when I go to the skate parks, we normally go together. But he
so nice.
Is so much better than me. He started after, and he's just so much better than I am.
Kids pick things up quickly. They pick things up real quickly. Like learning stuff when you're younger is way easier than when you're older. So I think you deserve triple the credit because it's a lot harder.
That's entirely true. And also, falling off hurts so much more. When you're not a teenager.
Well, I did have a bit of a crisis of confidence when I first started skateboarding, because I've always thought of myself as quite adventurous, and I've done the diving, I've done mountain biking and all these sort of things, and I don't know, it really made me it's so much scarier than anything else I've done before. And I'm like, why am I so scared of everything? I'm like, I'm going down the smallest slope ever and it's petrifying. And I don't know, I was really like, I'm not as fearless as I thought I was. I'm nowhere near as fearless as I thought I was. And I think some of that is age, Yeah.
It makes you feel any better. I've been skateboarding for 22 or 3 years now, a very long time. And I still get that. There's a quarter pipe near me that if I haven't skated it for a while, I'll stand on top of it. And it's almost like looking at everything through a magnifying glass, Skating has this amazing ability to make everything look much more intimidating than it actually is. And that still happens.
But that's
a floor set and go, oh God.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun, though, isn't it? That's that's as much as we'd like to pretend it isn't, actually that adrenaline is what makes it fun. And also, we've spoken about this before. Skateboarding is objectively stupid. I love skateboarding so much, but it's so dumb because concrete doesn't move. We grew up surfing as well, and water moves out your way. And actually concrete doesn't. Falling on concrete is horrible.
Definitely. No, I was having a chat with someone on Instagram this morning about the big slams where you just have to lie on the floor for a little bit and just go ow and try and work out which bits are hurting.
You always get that.
Have you got a slam story? What's your worst slam so far?
I've got, I suppose, a couple really. Like the most embarrassing one was we started going to Flow's skate park in Nottingham because they have a beginners skateboard session, so it's only skateboards and only beginners, which is like brilliant. And yeah, I sort of decided to go down. It's like a really small ramp, but then it leads onto a slightly bigger ramp, which leads onto a flat concrete bit and an uphill bit. And I was just going to go the small bit, but then I was going okay, so I thought, I'll do the next one. But I hadn't really mentally then prepared myself for the fact that I was going to hit an uphill bit. So I just basically panicked and fell off the back of the board, like completely just wiped out backwards onto the concrete floor. And my helmet hit the floor really loudly. And like everybody in the whole skate park just stopped and looked over. And then one of the coaches came running over and my son came running over, and it was like really embarrassing. But it sort of reminded me that, there's, I don't know if you sort of heard people say that, you know if you're old when you fall over, because if people laugh at you, you're still young. But if people come running over you, that's when you know that you're getting old.
James, you laughed at me on Sunday when I fell over.
Did I?
When I board slid down, or was it you? Why? Well, one of you did. We were skateboarding Sunday, and I did a board slide down the stair set. You all laughed at me. That means I'm still young.
You're still young,
I fell on my
you're
bum
fine.
then, and I rolled down the stairs a little bit, and you all laughed. So I'm a young man. It's fine.
Oh.
In skate parks, it's almost a 50-50 split, isn't it? There'll always be a few people who'll laugh and a few people who'll run over. So it's kind of hard to gauge.
Yeah.
Your closest friends will laugh. All the nice people will run over.
Oh,
so I think that kind of demonstrates the importance of a helmet there, doesn't it? If the helmet makes such a big thud that it got people's attention.
Yeah, oh God, I've got all the pads now. I've got my helmet, I've got elbow, wrist guard, knee pads. I've got impact shorts now. After that slam, I'm like, right, I'm fed up with falling on my bum. So I've got these impact shorts, which I think are from roller derby. Yeah, so I had to order them from like Finland or somewhere. And yeah, they use them in roller derby, and they've got padding basically over your hip bones and your sort of the bony parts of your hips, and on the coccyx as well at the back, so that it just sort of helps really when you fall on your bum.
I am low-key into that. If you see me at the skate park with some really baggy board shorts on, you'll know what's underneath.
Yeah, well, these are great. These fit under just normal jeans. So I was wearing them in the video today, just under my normal jeans, and they're really sort of thin but protective.
I'm surprised that's not more of a thing, because when you think about, roller derby's awesome, and I know it's like full contact and whatnot, but actually slamming onto kind of a laminate track, I'm just surprised that, given what skateboarding is, that's not more of a thing.
But that is it the culture though?
Well, yeah, because look at the helmet thing and how long how still that you're having to convince people that's the right thing to do. I find the older I get, the more I pad up. Like even more so than my helmet now, I wear my wrists, because I've just got worse at falling, and while I don't want to rely on them, I just think actually if I break my wrist, that's gonna really impact my ability to skate, of course, but also just my life, my work, my picking up my child. I just think, no, it's not worth it.
I know. I messed up one of my fingers, actually, and luckily it was my left hand, but it's still not 100% right. I ended up having to have physio on it. So, yeah.
So what Jack does is, rather than break his wrist, is he breaks his brother's wrist.
That's true. That's true. My brother came round, and to be honest, this is sort of his fault. My younger brother, I've got a much younger brother, and he came to visit, and he's old enough to make his own decisions. He's younger than me, but he's No, he's quite a lot younger than me. Anyway, he's a fully grown man, regardless. And he came round to visit, and I said, "What do you want to do today, Kieran?" He said, "Oh, I'm going to drop in on your Mini." I said, "That's fine." I said to him, "Would you like the wrist guards?" And he said, "No," and laughed in that way, you know, no. And he's never, you know, barely stood on a skateboard before. But I think
was going to say, could he drop in?
No, he was one that, growing up, kind of the opposite of you. He always, when I was a teenager, he was a little boy, and I think he always wanted to join in and didn't quite have the confidence. And he's had skateboards and barely touched them. I guess his friends, more part of the football sort of crowd. And he's got to an age now where I think he quite wants to. And he brought his board down, especially because he wanted to drop in. I think he refused the wrist guards, probably because the videos we used to watch, no one padded up, you know.
Yeah.
So it just, and anyway, he broke his wrist. He broke one of his fingers as well. He was off work for quite a while. Did he have to have surgery in the end? I can't remember. I think he had to have surgery. It was a while ago. Yeah. Anyway,
my finger injury came from trying to learn to drop in, actually.
Yeah, what happened?
But that was both my other worst injuries, because I was doing a course on a mini ramp, and I was like determined that I was going to learn to drop in. So I just didn't stop after. I should have stopped after a few slams. I should have just stopped, but I thought, no, that's enough. But I just carried on. And ended up sort of messing up my shoulder, which took a while to heal, and messing up my hand. So now I've learned that I have to stop, not just carry on.
It's hard though, isn't it? Because you always get into that. Yeah, but you get into that. Don't you get into that mood where it's almost, you stop treating the obstacle like an inanimate object. You feel like, I can't let this thing beat me. Like this ramp cannot win today. Yeah, I'm going to destroy that. Yeah. It's,
no, I've got a rule now that after, if I slam a couple of big slams, or sort of 3 like medium-ish slams, and that's it, I stop, because I just can't keep getting injured. No, I can't keep getting injured.
I think that's a lesson we haven't learned yet.
Yeah. Oh, I put my back out, tried to pump, doing some pumping on a half pipe, and I somehow put my back out, and then had to drive like an hour back from the skate park.
Oh God.
And then I'd lie down in bed for a few days. So
that's more, it's just how long it takes.
Just being old and rubbish.
Yeah, it takes ages to get better, doesn't it? Everything takes forever.
But you know what? It happens way earlier than you think, because it's getting worse, and I'm only 30, but even in my mid-20s, I started noticing that actually these things are taking a lot longer to heal. There was a real cut-off point, and it is as soon as you kind of come out of adolescence, where you just don't repair as quickly. Everything just starts slowing down, and it's if we were sensible people, we wouldn't do it. But it's just so much fun, isn't it?
Well also,
we throw ourselves at concrete on a daily basis.
The injuries that I had in my teens and 20s are now coming back to haunt me again. Some of them, because because I did a lot of sport, and now knee problems are because of the knee injuries that I had that I thought had healed, but no, now I've got slightly dodgy knees. Sport is so bad for you.
I feel so bad for just laughing. I just realised you went, my dodgy knees, and we all went,
oh yes.
Oh, your dodgy knees.
I think it's more like a relating thing, when we're laughing not just at dodgy knees, we're also laughing at our dodgy ankles and our dodgy feet and our dodgy shoulders.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, my dodgy ankles, they cause me such grief. The other day we went skating on Sunday. We skated for 2.5, maybe bordering on 3 hours. Lovely time. It was really good. Nothing too, I wouldn't say, I fell, but it was fine. And nothing was too trying. It was quite gentle. It was a lot of fun. I would say, chilled out. The next day, I felt like my legs had been pulled, like as if I'd been tied to 4 horses and had just been pulled in opposite directions. And I said to Luce, this is ridiculous. It wasn't from my fall. I fell on my bum. My bum was fine. It was like my ankles and my arms, my legs.
Yeah.
My arms, go figure. I don't know. It was just that I just felt, and I thought I haven't even earned that. You know what I mean? Like where sometimes you feel like that's me pushing myself. I felt like I didn't deserve that. I just felt terrible the next day.
Well, I think I'm going to ape tomorrow because the amount of times we were like trying to pump the bowl today at the skate park, I know that I'm going to be feeling that tomorrow.
It's like 1,000 mini squats, isn't it, doing that?
Oh, yes, yeah.
But when you go back, that's proof that you love it, look. The fact that you're like, I find that when I injure myself, and what's the hardest thing, I mean, apart from the fact it's horrible and there are, more grown-up answers to this, but I'm thinking, I might not be able to skate for a while now.
I know, I'm going to lose
really
everything.
frustrating.
Everything will be gone. Oh my, I won't be able to do anything. You worry about what you're going to lose when if you can't get out there and practice. Yeah, all the tricks will go.
Yeah.
So Jane, do you have any sort of role models or figures in skating that you particularly look up to at all that inspire you?
I suppose on the freestyle side, there's quite a strong community particularly on Instagram, and so on the way that I got into freestyle was I was watching Braille skateboarding.
Oh yeah.
Because obviously I was a beginner skateboarder, and that's where you go. And this guy called Mike Osterman came on to Braille and was doing some freestyle. So then I started following him, and then sort of got into the whole community that way. So certainly he has been, sort of someone who's been quite important in my skating career.
Yeah.
And on the UK side, Tony Gale, who owns the skate shop, the Offset Skate Shop, and he's like one of the main sort of freestylers in the UK, and has got a lot of trick tips as well. So both of those on the freestyle side of things. And then, I don't know, not like so much famous people really, but I've developed a really strong group of female friends who are all freestylers. We've now got our own Instagram account called Freestyle Coven.
Oh, cool.
I'm writing that down.
Yes. And it's sort of us and friends, really. Anybody in the freestyle in the freestyle world who wants to be sort of, well, it's like it's for people who are a bit crap at freestyle. Basically, it's the equivalent. So because we're all beginners. Well, actually, one of the ladies is not a beginner. She's very good, but the rest of us are all beginners, and we're all progressing at different rates. So we're all sort of, some of us like me are crapper than others, and but it's more about showing the journey and showing the progress, and really just sort of showing people that it can take a long time and it's not perfect all the time. And because I think there's quite a big thing about just showing your best side all the time and not showing how long you are working on something and how difficult it is. And
also I guess not showing that the freestyle world isn't just nerdy 20-year-old dudes as well.
Yes.
Like there's more to it than our stereotype of your average freestyler.
Yeah, it is really, really diverse, and I think quite, in age and it's definitely not just 21-year-old dudes.
That's so cool though, but it makes it so accessible. I suppose that, like, it's really interesting from your perspective. You said earlier that you came into it not from being kind of growing up watching the culture and then going in. You've come at it from the opposite angle, really. Standing on a skateboard was your first experience of skateboarding, and that's so beautiful and holistic, and also so opposite how I arguably got into it from the other end of, like, magazines and films and things like that. So I suppose part of it might be that, you know, that like to us, and it can be a bad thing and it can be a good thing. But the first skateboarders that I saw were like Mike Vallely and Steve Cavallero and Tony Hawk and all these, and Rodney Mullen, if we're talking about freestyle, all these incredible skateboarders.
Yeah.
But actually, that's not always what makes you want to try skateboarding, because that in itself is off-putting. And I think that the internet's brilliant for this, actually developing these communities where you can all kind of, you know, what's the word? Encourage each other, I suppose.
Yeah,
you know?
Because actually the majority of the accounts that I follow are not people doing amazing things. They are, although, I mean, they are sort of, a lot of the people I follow are just sort of people that are beginners as well, because it's just nice to get ideas of things that I might be able to try that would be within my grasp and not just on some other realm entirely.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. It really does. And also just seeing progression is such an enjoyable thing to watch as well. Like I've had a look at your channel and on your channel, your Instagram account, and your progression's brilliant. But then also I watched that and I've not really spent, James is much more of a freestyler than I am. He loves freestyle. I love it, but I've never really delved into it much. I can sort of rail flip, and I got my tail stand back the other day. I'll try and get it into a pogo.
Yeah.
But which was fun. I was trying that again. I thought I'm heavier now, but I'm going to try. I used to be able to do this. I'm going to get that back.
I didn't intend to get into freestyle. Really, I'd always had my eye on the skate parks and transition, but because lockdown happened and the skate park shut, I sort of got into it by accident, really.
I've remembered what I was going to ask you now, or say to you, is that one of the things that you were doing really well on your Instagram, where there's really great progress, was tail whips. And I thought, I saw that similar to you, and I thought, I've never tried that. I'm going to try and do a tail whip. I'm going to get into Primo and I'll do a tail whip. That looks fun. That looks within my grasp. And I don't have a fucking idea how you do it. Like, I was watching you do it and I was thinking, I'm going to give that a go. And I just seem like, it's just like, no, wheel is against the concrete. I can't seem to get the angle right.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. And it took me so long to even just get it to do anything. And people are like getting it, I'll land it back in rail, or I'll do it this, or I'll do it that. And I'm like, how are you doing that? It's like magic. If you enchanted the skateboard somehow.
I don't get it. I just was like, when it wasn't working, I was just like, maybe I need to kick it harder. And then my toes started to hurt because I was just kicking it harder. And I rage quit. You need to give me lessons for tail whipping, because I just can't.
Brings me to a question I was going to ask actually. What have you got have you got any favourite tricks or go-to tricks, or any new tricks you're particularly proud of at all?
So I suppose my first ever proper trick that I learned was the finger flip. But
very cool,
awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, so you start with a sort of like on the tail, and then do like flip it with your fingers and land back on the board.
Yeah.
But for me, the biggest thing was not the flipping of the fingers bit. I was just absolutely terrified just about jumping off and landing back on my board. That has been such a mental battle for me. Just the action of jumping up and landing back on my board because it's got wheels and it rolls and
Seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? I'm going to try and land back on the unstable object.
Yes, exactly, on the concrete. So I'm sort of really proud of that, because it's the first trick that I could actually do that you could consider to be a trick. So when the kids at the skate park are like, can you do an ollie? Can you do a kick flip? I'm like, no, but I could do a finger flip.
But how many of them do you reckon can do finger flips? Not many.
Finger flip is far cool, honestly, Jane. I finger flip's a cooler trick. I love that style. Yeah. You'll win a game of skate. You'll win more games of skate with a finger flip than you will with a kick flip.
But then I lost it again. That's the thing. And I thought, I didn't know you could lose. I had it on lock, and then it went. Where did it go? But then, I think
consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I've hauled it back again. Thankfully.
Are you part of I don't know if you are, Jane. I can't remember if I've seen you on there or not, but are you part of there's a group on Facebook called the UK Skateboarding Collective. It's very much supportive. It's mixed abilities. You don't have to, but I'd recommend it. It's just a lovely community. Yeah, but it's and lots of people asking for advice, different abilities, very creative and things like that. But they're running a big game of skate at the moment, where they announce a trick every week, and then you have to post a video of you doing that trick. Yeah. And I've fallen out of it the last couple of weeks. One of them because I couldn't do it. No, two of them because I couldn't do it. So it's been a few weeks now. I'm probably about to get kicked out of it. I'm probably about to get skate. But one of them I just forgot. But one of them was a varial flip. And I thought, oh, I used to have that on lock. I could do that. As a teenager, I could varial flip fine. I'll get that back in no time. And you have to post it by midnight on a Thursday. And I think it was about 10:30. And I'd gone to, like a terrible adult, I'd gone to a different street in my village because I didn't want to annoy my neighbours. I thought, these people don't know me, it's fine. And I just had to stop. I just say, I'm getting nowhere with this. I'm getting nowhere, and it's gone. You can lose stuff.
I don't know. My brain is just like, I moved to a slightly different surface. Oh no, I can't do it anymore. I turn around a different way. I can't do it. It doesn't take much for me to not be able to do something anymore.
Yeah. Got a new pair of skate shoes, can't skate anymore. Got a new deck, can't skate anymore.
Skate shoes
Weather
are
a bit
the worst
funny, can't skate anymore.
Yeah, no, it is such a psychological thing, isn't it? I was just sort of...
Absolutely.
Yeah, which I think is why my son is so much better than me, because he just doesn't overthink everything. He's like, really big ramp, I'll go down that.
Yeah. Boys have no fear, I can tell you that now. I didn't have any fear when I was about 12, and now I'm scared of everything.
Yeah. Oh. But it's good. It spurs me on, because I was having a bit of a, oh no, I can't go down this ramp. It's too difficult because it's like really narrow and I might fall off the side the other day. And my son would just sort of roll down this huge thing, and he's like, well, I've done that now, so you've got to do that.
That's you're encouraging each other. You're boosting each other's skills,
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Lead by example. I like that. That's lovely. You obviously your children have cropped up a lot, which is wonderful, and the fact that you kind of, especially with your younger son, you've got this relationship where you can encourage each other, and you do that together as a bonding thing, and that's so wonderful, and it's frankly what I dream of for in a few years' time for me and my daughter. But have you found, are there any challenges of being a parent and starting a new hobby? Skateboarding as the example, I suppose, here, but has that been a challenge, just juggling the two things, or not really?
I suppose, well, it's like any hobby, it's time when you've got kids, definitely. But actually, skateboarding has been, I think, better than before. I was doing skateboarding, I was really into my cycling, and in particular track cycling at the velodrome.
Oh, wow.
And that is like the most expensive, time-consuming hobby going. So, and in the end, I gave it up really for those reasons. It was just too much time commitment and really, really expensive for the equipment and everything. So in a way, skateboarding has actually been great, because I can do it on my own. I can do it, and I can go in the garage, I can go to the local car park, I can do sessions on my own and fit them in when I want to. I can do it with my son as well, and it's something that we can both do together. And it's actually worked out really well as a hobby.
It's a great hobby.
Even like when he has his football training, if the ground is dry, I know that there's like a court next to where they do the football training, so I can take the board and go and do some stuff on the court, or there's like a little bit of a car park with a curb, or so it can sort of just fit it in.
I think that's great. Like when all the other parents are sat in the cars with a cup of coffee waiting for their kids to come back in from
skateboarding,
from football, you're there shredding up the tennis courts or whatever. That's
absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah, no, it was quite funny because I was there once, and then there were some kids from the school as well. There's two girls, which was really nice to see, and we were having a chat and talking about what tricks we were working on and things. So it was really nice.
Can I say, Jane, that you're a genuine inspiration to me? I feel like you're the parent that I want to be in a few years. You know, because I guess we all fight that, and it's changing, but I guess we all fight that that feeling of, you know, societal expectation possibly. It's like, well, as we get older, I've now got these responsibilities. Do I need to be more sensible? But then I think, actually, I want my daughter, I want her to feel like all of these things are an option to her. I want her to see like women skateboarding and girls skateboarding, and I want her to be able to see all of these things as something she can do, and that she doesn't have to be sensible all the time, and that and I love the fact that you skate like with your son. I think, oh, if I can do that with Lamorna, my daughter, in a few years, you bring a huge smile to my face. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, there does seem to be quite a few dad-daughter combos, you know, where that I know of, certainly are, you know, on Instagram. And it's really, really nice to see. And there does seem to be a lot more younger girls taking up skateboarding, definitely. The sessions that we do at Flow, the beginners sessions, I'd say it's almost 50-50. There's a lot of young girls go to them.
That's wonderful.
Skate park here recently, and there's a skate park near us, an outdoor one. And I was skating there by myself, and then this 4 or 5 scooter kids turn up, and they're all young boys, all about 12. And then one of them's sister arrived. So it was 4 or 5 lads on scooters and one young girl on a skateboard, who was obviously she's part of the same family friendship group as the others, but she was the only skater of that group. Yeah. And I was skating and she was skating around, and she turns to me and she goes, "How long have you been skateboarding for?" I said, "I'm 22 years." She goes, "That's a long time." I went, "Yeah." She goes, "I've been skateboarding for 2 weeks." And I was like, "Sorry, what?" Because she had just dropped in the big quarter pipe.
I bet it's just not fair, is it? It's
she
just
was
not fair.
7 years old, been skating for 2 weeks, and had dropped in the quarter pipe, and I'm there going, "You are the future. This is amazing."
Yes, I know. Yeah, I know a lot of the women that I sort of speak to definitely still have trepidation about going to a skate park, particularly going to a skate park when it's busy and going to a skate park on their own. But I don't know. I haven't really got any sort of experience in that respect, because we mostly go first thing in the morning with the aim of not being anybody else there. And I think as an older woman skating, I think people are just so baffled by me that I've literally not had any negative feedback, because people are just so busy going, "What?" But I do, you know, I just know from people's comments that it's definitely not easy for all women at skate parks. That there is, you know, still some, you know, it's not easy to just turn up, I think, as a woman on your own.
No, that's really, really honest of you, and it's thanks for that perspective. Again, it's a perspective that we haven't had. Do you know, I was thinking when you were saying then about turning up as you get older, I feel like I've got to a point now where I'm okay at skateboarding. You know, I don't progress quickly because I don't think I do it enough. I do it weekly, but I'm not going to be out like all day, and because I just can't, I don't have time to do that. But I think when I turn up now, because of my age, I think people expect you to be really good. And that's something that I think, not so much adults, because a lot of adults start at different times in their lives. And I think the adult community is lovely. The younger community is probably lovely. It's just all in my head. But I think that younger people, I think, almost watch, like they kind of expect when a person in their 30s or above turns up, sometimes they're thinking like, you know, old timer,
I don't know, but to me, you guys are not crap skateboarders. Like the tricks that you talk about doing and still being able to do are like really advanced tricks. Like that is not crap skateboarding to me.
We will take that. We'll take that. And we'll wear that on our heads.
That's like super amazing. Don't think I couldn't even dream of that skateboarding.
But then you say that, but I was watching you tail whip and thinking that me trying to do that tail whip that you did, that's the biggest drop I've had as an adult. Honestly, I just threw my toys out the pram. I just was going, no. I kicked my board so hard in the side. I was like, it's gonna move. And it just probably broke my toe.
Everyone has a trick. Everyone has a trick that somebody else wishes they could do. You know, any skateboarder's got one trick that somebody else somewhere wishes they could do. That's kind of the way it is, you know. And we were talking about this with FaZe on a couple of episodes ago, actually, that we talk about the trepidation in the skate park and people's sort of perception of not very good skaters. It seems, certainly now, it seems to be that most of the enthusiasm and most of the positive energy is directed towards the people who are just starting out and directed towards the people who are learning. And, you know, the people who are absolutely shredding, some of the people might tap their boards if they do a good trick, but if somebody's been trying to pop, shove it or kickflip for 40 minutes and everyone's aware of it and they land it, you know, it can explode. And a lot of that attitude is really positive and aimed towards the newer skaters now. And that seems
like dropping in for the first time. Like there's no better feeling than watching someone drop in for the first time, because we've all been there.
You feed back off that energy. It's great.
Yeah. Last time we were, the other weekend we were at the skate park. There was a boy who was with his mum. She wasn't skating, but he was trying to drop into the bowl, which was quite a big concrete bowl. And she was holding his hand and like helping him. And the first time he didn't do it, but then he did do it. And we were like really, you know, sort of, definitely really, really pleased for him. And then actually that encouraged my son to go for it as well, because he had been sort of dropping in on smaller things. And he's like, right, I'm going to drop in on that bowl too. And, so, I think it really does. Sort of, when somebody achieves something, it spurs everyone else on as well, doesn't it?
Well, we did it the other day, James. You tray flipped that a little stair set, and I pop shove it a little stair set. But, you know, you can tray flip and I can't. But you came and gave me the biggest, I shouldn't say that, socially distanced wave. You know, that's great, isn't it? Like we all win and we all lose, I suppose. It's like you're not competing apart from with yourself, you know.
No, because when I have been to the skate park where there's been more experienced skaters, because one of the ones that we go to, it's just a general session, and you can get some really good people there. In fact, when we first started going, there was this guy that was like a really good skater, and we're like, oh, I know that, you know. And even before mine was skateboarding and I was into skateboarding, we sort of thought, you know, he's really, really good. And so we used to call him like the mullet man. And it sort of turns out it was Dead Dave.
Jesus! Yeah! Wow!
But,
oh my God!
So, that was quite funny to realise that. And then later on, it's oh, that's that guy from the skate park who was really good.
Is he up?
Why he's so good?
Sorry, I am a ridiculous heroin fan.
No, like, he is my favourite skater
story.
now. He's definitely my favourite skater. But I definitely like all the old school stuff. So on the sort of, that is much more what I'm attracted to. Like anything where you put your hand down or your foot down, that's all good.
Dancing with your skateboard, basically.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I'm with you.
I think it's because I might never be able to ollie. So anything that doesn't require an ollie, I'm like, oh yeah, boneless, great.
Jane, have you got any sort of tricks or goals that you want to achieve? Any particular tricks that you want to learn soon or you're working on?
So this year, I really, really, really want to learn to drop in. That's definitely one of my goals. So we need the skate parks to stay open long enough for me to get confident and drop in. I've got I've got some freestyle goals, but I've also got some transition goals. I'd really like to drop in, and then I think I'd like to start learning a few basic mini ramp tricks as well, if I can.
Yeah.
And on the freestyle side, definitely want to get the rail flip on lock and land it properly, and some some truck tricks as well. Because maybe like pogo or something.
Yeah. The ones that look really cool and you can do anywhere.
Yeah, but at the moment I can't get the pogo off the ground whatsoever. I don't. It just doesn't go. It doesn't like.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Like you're trying to pull your board up, but you're also got to move your body up at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit of a weird one.
It looks so easy and it's so not.
It looks like you're on like a pogo stick, literally. Like if somebody does it properly, it looks like they're just bouncing around.
Yeah, it's like why doesn't
this is really heavy.
Yeah, why doesn't mine bounce like that? I suppose I've just got small goals really, and just trying to do more actual just pushing and skating, because that was the disadvantage of having learned in lockdown. I did not do enough just pushing around and getting confident on the board. And I'm sort of still feeling the effects of that now, that I'm nervous about a lot of things that really, I think I just wouldn't be nervous. I just need more board time, really, just more cruising and rolling. And
there's a lot to be said for just having that board feel, isn't there? And quite often, if I rock up to skate park, I will spend a good 5 minutes just skating, rolling, and leaning into it, and like just getting that mind-foot-board connection in place.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the skate park that we go to. You have to skate through just a normal park to get to the skate park, and that is really nice way to just ease into it for me, to just spend sort of 5-10 minutes just cruising through the park before we get to the skate park. It takes me so long to warm up, like physically and mentally.
Do you have like a nice little small mini ramp that you think you can learn to drop in on, or is yours quite is it quite a big one?
Not really. No, that is the problem. There's there's an indoor skate park in Sheffield that we go to sometimes, and it's got a really nice little mini ramp, but it's always quite busy because obviously lots of people like the mini ramp. I don't know. We're replacing our shed this year, and there is talk of a mini ramp in the garden, possibly.
Yeah.
Do it.
It's the best decision you'll ever make.
Yeah, because I was thinking, while the shed's coming down and we're laying concrete and things, so that might be a possibility.
You just as seating, children's slides, a deck, storage. Like it's really useful.
Yeah, honestly, he's talking from experience. Like the amount of stuff it's so nice. It is so nice, and yeah, do it. The thing is, it's just a lot of it as well is that I find that I'm more adventurous on my ramp than I am on other ramps, because if I go to a skate park, and it shouldn't be like this, but if there's enough people there,
it's
I'm sometimes like,
yeah.
I know how to do these few things, so I'm going to do these things because like I'll get them, fine. Whereas I don't mind trying something new and falling off in the comfort of my own garden as much. Like I'll be a bit weirder with it. I'll be a bit more adventurous. And Jane, is there anything? Do you want to? This always sounds really silly and vain, so I apologise. But we want you to get something out. Is there anything that you'd like to plug in regards to? Would you like to tell people about your Instagram or where to find it, or is there anything else you'd like to? Or like Skate Coven? Yeah.
I definitely would just want to sort of I suppose, big up the freestyle community in general, because everybody is so cool and supportive and lovely. But definitely, I'm going to do all that. Definitely the Freestyle Coven girls, just really make a difference and help me to have enthusiasm and cheer me up, and they're just so lovely. So yes.
Also, you've got 3,000 followers. You've pretty much just told us that you're, what was it, best friends with Dead Dave? That's what I am.
No. I've once
Yeah, I think
seen
I heard
Dave
that as well.
skated.
Ham sandwich! Salami! Oh, boy!
Thank you so much, Jane. It's been a real pleasure. And yeah,
Hopefully we get to skate with you one day. We'd love to
Yes.
get a chance to skate with you one day.
when you're
Yeah,
in
well, as I
Bristol, you
say-
said when you're in Bristol, come
Definitely.
and find us.
Yeah, because we do, when we're allowed to, go down to Bristol a fair bit. So, yeah, that would be cool.
That's
In
right.
better times, we'll go for a skate. You can teach me how to tail whip. Right, thank you so much, Jane.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
cool. No, thank you for making me welcome. So I was a bit nervous, but
If you love skateboarding but you're just not very good at jumping up and down on your favorite piece of wood,